Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. It's Melissa from Big Cash Ideas. In today's video, I will be showing you how you can make money online creating simple yet beautiful coloring books just like these. You don't need any graphic design experience, and it's easy as copying and pasting images, but with a little twist, so don't think you know what it is just yet. You will be able to make these coloring books in less than 20 minutes, and anyone can do this no matter where you are in the world. Coloring books are hot selling items, and this is something that I'm about to show you how you can sell on Amazon. Simple fact is, it's difficult to be successful with low content books like journals and notebooks hoping to make one sale. Also, watch to the end to see tips and tricks that will actually help you sell your content books on Amazon. Subscribe to see my updated case study that shows you how much I made using these exact steps I'm going to show you today. So don't go anywhere, you do not want to miss this video. I want to make sure I give you the right tips and tricks to help you make money online using this method. We will be using what is called Amazon KDP. Basically, KDP allows you as an independent person to publish your own content on Amazon. This could be notebooks, journals, or in this case, coloring books, and anyone can sign up and get started today. That is what makes this method so perfect for passive income, because you can sign up today and start publishing your books as soon as you sign up. Okay, starting out, the first thing you'll need to do is a little bit of keyword research to see what style of coloring book you're going to create. What are people looking for on Amazon? Now, keep in mind, you do not need this tool that's showing here, Helium 10, because I will be providing you guys with a list of keywords so you can quickly get started. So right now I'm searching for coloring books, and I see the Amazon suggestions. The top search is coloring book for kids 4 to 8. So I'm gonna click on that. Okay, now we have our list of results for this keyword, and it's about 20,000 results, which is not too bad. Usually you want something around 20,000 or less as far as the results for that search term. Now I'm going to open the Helium extension to get a little bit more information about the results for this keyword. As I said before, you don't need this tool. I'm just showing you how you could do research if you wanted to do research yourself instead of using the keywords I provide. So I'm going to go ahead and load all the results here, and we can see this niche in general has about 3 million in revenue monthly. Average revenue for all the publishers is about 36,000. But actually what we want to do is filter it down to make sure this is a good niche to start in. So I'm going to put in at least a minimum of 150 sales for a publisher per month and less than 100 reviews. And we'll go ahead and apply this filter. And now that takes us down to 23 results out of 120, which is not bad. And if we go over here to creation date, we can see that most of these coloring books were published this year, and there are some that were published late last year. There are a variety of coloring books, from Christmas to ocean animals to just general kids coloring books, and these are all independent publishers on Amazon. So if I wanted to get into this specific niche of coloring books for kids ages 4 to 8, I would browse through these results and I would find a coloring book style that I would like to create that I think I could create better. Of course, I will be showing you later how you can create your own coloring book using a very simple method that I have not seen anyone else teach on YouTube. And I'll also show you in a moment the coloring book that I created using the method that I'm showing you in this video. Now, I did want to point out, when you're creating your coloring book, once you found your keyword and you know what type of coloring book you want to create, definitely stay away from anything that is copyright, such as this independent publisher has created a Pokemon activity book. However, they do not own the rights to Pokemon, and they're basically risking their Amazon KDP account, even though they're making $3,000 in revenue a month. But it's still something I would stay away from for longevity, and it's not worth the quick money you may make. So now I've found a coloring book that I want to possibly recreate. And this seller created this coloring book in September. So let's go ahead to the main page for the coloring book. It is a simple kids coloring book. I love to color. And let's see what the graphics look like. Nothing too complicated to create. And you can also click the back and they have a few examples of the coloring pages within them. And this basically is giving me an idea of what type of pages I should be creating within my book to compete with this seller. You can also use the look inside feature to see exactly how they have their coloring book formatted, like the first few pages of the book, and if there are any example coloring pages such as this one. And we can see it's a simple sleepy moon. That's nothing too complicated to create. And an airplane, which is not too complicated to create. Now, you don't have to create these exact images. You can just give you an idea of the style of images you may want to put in your coloring book. Now, you'll want to look at the full listing to see if they have any promotional images like they do here, which these are fairly easy to create as well. Also, we'll look at the reviews to see if there are any negative reviews, and to look at the customer review. You can see here there's another image that's within the coloring book that's not too difficult to create. Now I have an idea of what I will need to do when creating my coloring book, so let's go ahead and get to that step now. As I've said, you guys do not need any expensive tools. I've already done the research for you, and I will be providing you with this data. So basically, this is a list of coloring books on Amazon, just a general niche of coloring books. So that includes kids and adults. And these are coloring books that have been uploaded 12 months ago or less. They have less than 100 ratings. The sales rank is 300,000 or less. They make at least 150 sales a month. So these are coloring books that you could easily recreate yourself and hopefully start ranking alongside of these sellers and making just as much money as they're making. The monthly revenue is in the thousands. There's some even in 2,000 and 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a month for these coloring books. If you just take time, find a coloring book, made it better than the original, then there's no reason why you can't be doing just as well. So what I'll be doing is I'll be exporting this data in a spreadsheet and I'll be uploading it to Google. Okay, so now we're on to creating the coloring book. I'm back on the listing page for the coloring book that I want to pretty much use as a guide for my coloring book, and I'm just looking at the images that they have included inside of the coloring book. So now we're going to go over to Google and we're going to search for kids coloring page. This is just going to bring up a lot of different images for kids coloring pages. And so I want to look for one that's similar to the coloring book that I'm creating. I'm just using this as a guide. You'll understand why in just a moment when we start creating the coloring page. But next we're going to go over to Midjourney. Midjourney is basically an AI image creation tool similar to Stable Diffusion and DALL-E. It's fairly cheap. You can actually use it for free initially. I think you get about 25 images. So you would just join the beta. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in since I already have an account. And you can see some of the images that I have already started to create. And so let's go back over to the Google page. We're going to find a reference image. So I'm going to go with this cute little with the fish in the water. What you're going to do is copy the image address. Once you have Midjourney set up, you're going to go to the Midjourney bot. And you're going to type in this. We're going to do image prompt, and you're going to paste in your image. And now you're going to use a prompt, which is going to give your coloring page. I already have a few created, and this is what I use in my prompt. I will put the prompt below so that you can use the same one. I have found that this usually gives me an actual page that's looks like a coloring page. And so once I have that in, you can just type in what you want your coloring page to look like. You want to describe what's in the photo to get the best results. So I'm putting in here, cute turtle in the water with a fish and then a comma. And the rest of it, I'm just going to leave the same, which you can see full page illustration, very detailed and colorful. We're going to hit, since I am in fast mode right now, the image should create fairly quickly. It usually takes maybe 10, 20 seconds to create the image. So I'm going to fast forward this part and then we'll go to the image. We have a cute little turtle and it gives you 4 images that it generates. They do have color, but don't worry because I will show you how you can remove the color to create just the black and white that can be colored in. And also Midjourney does create black and white images. It just depends on what you put in your prompt. So I did put colorful in my prompt purposefully so I can show you how to remove the color. But you can also remove colorful from the prompt and put in grayscale or black and white. It will give you a black and white image that you do not have to worry about removing the color from. Here, these images are black and white, and so what I did was take out the word colorful in my prompt and put in black and white. You can also add in solid white background as well to increase the chance of getting a page that looks like a coloring page. Basically, why I use this method is because when you use an image as your prompt, it's easier for Midjourney to give you exactly something similar versus just making up a prompt and hoping that you get something that looks like a coloring page. Okay, so I do the last 4 results I had, and I went ahead and upscaled one of those results, which basically means it gives you a more higher resolution quality image of that result. Once you have it upscaled, you'll have your image like this. You'll just go ahead and click on the image. Once it's done, you can click on the web link, or you can try upscaling it again if it doesn't look right. Sometimes that happens, but I'm going to open it in my browser. This is the final image. Now I like it. It's a cute coloring page for a child, but I want to make it a little bit more simple. So what I'm going to do is save that image to my computer. I'm going to go back over to Photopea. I'm going to upload this image that I just saved from Midjourney. Then I'm going to edit it a little bit more. So what I want to do is remove this little fish at the top because I want this to be a simple coloring page for a child 4 to 8. I'm just going to repeat the same steps as I did earlier using the eraser tool. I'm just going to go ahead and erase the little fish and the bubbles. You will see the final result in just a moment. And so now I have my final result. I just removed the fish and the bubbles at the top. And now I'm going to export this to my computer again. This is the final image I want for my coloring page. It was very simple to make with Midjourney. It took me maybe 20 minutes. It would have taken less time, but I was being super picky with my prompts and just testing different things out. Normally, you could probably do this. Okay, so once you have your image, you don't want to use that in your coloring book because you will end up stretching the image. Even though it's a higher quality, I think Midjourney, it's exported at 1024 by 1024, depending on the aspect ratio. But what I like to do is take it over to this website called Vectorizer, and you'll upload your image. And now you can create a vector image. So this way you can make the image as large as you want and it doesn't affect the quality. And you can mess around with these settings if you want the image to look a little bit darker as far as the outlines, or if you want just the outline with no background, and you can put it over any color background you want. And this website is great if you, for example, have a color image that is created in Midjourney and you want to turn it into a black and white coloring page. You can also use this website for that as well. And you would just upload your image and select clip art, or you can select sketch, and then you will see the option to just put it in black and white. This is a quick way of creating vector images if you do not have the knowledge to use something like Adobe Illustrator to create a vector image from a color image or a vector image from a black and white image. This website makes it very easy to do that. I believe it is $4.99 a month if you want a unlimited plan. And I think they also have a weekly plan, and I think it's $1.99 per week if you only need 1 week access. But it is a great tool, especially for this method. Now you can even change the colors of the vector image. So for me, I'm going to set this to white because I noticed in my final image that it has like a grayish tint, and we want it to be a pure white coloring page in this case. So I just set those two grayish images to white so it looks more clear, especially for a children's coloring book. And then you can export it in your preferred format like SVG, PNG, EPS, even PDF. I'm going to export it as an SVG, and then I'm going to open it up. Now, before we create our interior page, we'll need to download this. And this template is provided by another YouTuber who is in the KDP niche. His name is Paul Morales. So he has created these templates, and you can go to the link in the description and download the same template. And I'm downloading the interior template for the right side, because of course with the coloring page will be on the right side. So I downloaded the right template, and then I'm putting in the dimensions that it says for that template, and I'm going to upload my image. So now I have my image here in Canva, and what I want to do is resize this so that it is within this red box. You do not want to put it outside of the red box because that would be cut off when it's being printed. So you can put it inside of this, and I can just position it here. You could also change this image, like if I decide I don't like certain elements, I could erase them and then add elements from Canva into my image. That's an option as well. For example, I'm adding clouds here, so I could possibly add maybe a cloud. And this is not something you have to do. A lot of times the image that you get from Midjourney is fine by itself. Maybe it may need a little editing. You might need to erase something in Photoshop, etc. But what you get after that, you can pretty much stick it in Canva and you have a coloring page. But there is the option to customize it further if you wanted to, like for example, me adding these little clouds in the sky to the image just to fill out the page more. I could also, I don't really like the water. I'm looking at it now and I don't know if I like it or not. So one thing I could do, I could put a black line like around the image, like an outline. And I know the coloring book that I'm basically using as an example from Amazon, their images had that black bounding box around it. I could add that in, which would make the kind of stretch out a little bit more across the page. But I'm still just looking through elements here, and I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward so you don't have to watch this part. Okay, so I ended up changing the clouds, and I added these two puffy clouds because I felt like they looked a little bit better. So this is my final image, and we'll go ahead to the next. Okay, so actually what ended up happening is I was doing a lot more testing in Midjourney. After I created my coloring book cover, which I will show you in a minute, I completely decided to go for a different theme in my coloring book for the characters. This page you see here in Canva was created in Midjourney. Now, like I said, you can get creative. You can add elements together. So what I did is I created this cute little turtle character. This is just one image by itself. I can move it around. I created this little turtle character in Midjourney. All I did was once I brought it over to Canva, I just used the edit and I used background remove, and it removed the background. And then the image here was also created in Midjourney. I forget what, I used a reference image of, I think it was like a coloring page with a meadow. I'll have to show you once I go back over to my Discord. But this is a separate image. So all I did was combine these two images together to create this coloring page. And I don't think it looks too bad. It still looks simple enough for a child to color. And it has that hand-drawn look. So yeah, this is the coloring image that I decided to go with. So this is the image that I used for the background. Here I use, let's see what prompt. I use this as my reference image. This right here was my reference coloring image, and I use this as my prompt. You could also put like artist name, illustrators, artists in your prompt to influence how your image comes out. But this is the final image. This is the 4 that it gave me. And I chose this one in the end. And that's the one that you see here in my Canva. That's the image there in the background. For the turtle, here was my little turtle. And another thing you can do in Midjourney is you can use 2 images together. The first image will be the base of what Midjourney uses as the starting off image, like what it will model your main image after. So this is the turtle that I used. It was from like a free coloring book. So it's basing the color of it off of that. You can see I've been playing around a lot in Midjourney. So yeah, here it is. It gave me these little characters and I ended up choosing this third one and I just upscaled it. Upscale means give me a larger version because the actual versions are small, as you can see. So you click upscale once you find an image that you like and it will upscale it and give you a larger version like it did now. This is, like I said, 1024 by 1024, I believe. Let me see, I can go on the web and check. Yeah, it's 1024 by 1024. And that's the version that I ended up going with, but it is in color. And all I did was I went over to the Vectorizer website and I just changed it to a grayscale image. And it gave me a black and white image for coloring. And if we go back to Canva, and all I did was erase the extra, everything that was in the background, the cloud, and I kept the ground. I could even erase that if I wanted him to be standing on this ground. I think I will go back and do that. I can't do that in Canva easily, but I could go back and do that Photopea and erase this little ground part so he's just standing there on this ground, which I'm going to do so it looks a little bit more cohesive. Okay, so now this is my final coloring book cover. So you would need to create a cover for your coloring book as well. And that's what I was saying, is when I was creating my cover is when I started to change my mind about the type of images I wanted for my coloring pages. And that's when I started creating little characters similar to my prompt that I use to create my coloring book cover. Now, one thing to keep in mind, depending on the type of coloring book you're going to create, it may be difficult to just put in a prompt in Midjourney and that prompt give you a coloring book. And I will show you why in just a minute, because this coloring book cover that I created is actually a mixture of elements from images I created in Midjourney, because it made it a lot easier to just mix up elements versus trying to find that perfect image that would work as a coloring book cover. Sometimes you will need to put in a little bit more effort and do just as I did. And so I'll show you now. This image here is a image by itself. This is an image that was created in Midjourney. All I did was bring it into Photopea and I erased a lot of the background. And then once I saved it, I brought it into Canva, and then I also did the background remover, and it gave me a clean image like this. The little girl on the image has no eyeballs, and I thought that was a little creepy, and it's probably influenced based off of one of the Illustrator names I used in my prompt, but it looked creepy. So all I did was search for eyes in Canva, and I added eyes to her. So put her back so she has eyes down, so it looks a little bit less creepy. And then also this image here was also created in Midjourney. It was actually an image of a lot of flowers, but I just took just this one part and removed the background, added it here. I also have my little turtle character in here, and I just used the color image of him, removed the background, put him in Canva as well. Now for the rest of this, also was a image created in Midjourney. Let me see if I can move it to the front. So this was an image I created in Midjourney as well. It wasn't this color. I just added a filter here in Canva. I used, I think, one of these photogenic filters. Yeah, I did, to give it that rainbow look, and that's why it's that color. And then the rest of the image, like the green grass, this part, not that part, this part is from Canva. This is a Canva element, coloring book around and out of place. There we go. So I haven't thought of a name yet for my coloring book, but once I think of a name, what I'm going to do is take it over into Adobe Express, because I like the text better in Adobe Express than Canva. With Canva, I don't really like the options they have for text. You don't really have too many options as you do in something like Adobe Express. So I'm going to open it up in Adobe Express and then put my coloring book name in it, and that will be all. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention as far as the dimensions for the coloring book. I just downloaded a template. See if I can find it here. Here it is. I just used this as far as knowing where to put my elements. So I just put my elements inside of this. Like your text, you want to make sure your text lines up here, and your main elements like this, you want it in the center. Now the background can go over because it will be cut off anyway. Your background elements, because of course if you were to line it up, then the background might come out printed weird. So you can go over the bleed section with your background, but your elements cannot be in the background, or else your book could be rejected when you upload it to KDP. So just make sure your main elements like this, and your title, which once I have mine, is within this white section, and then the rest, like the background, can go over the red section. And this background is just a square that I created in Canva, and I just used it like that, put it in place for the back cover. So I hope this helped, and we'll go on to the last section. I did mention about the elements that I used to create my coloring book, and I wanted to show you those really quick. So this is the image that Midjourney created for me. As I mentioned, I erased the background using Photopea, and then I brought it into Canva and chose background erase, and it removed the rest of the background for me. Flower image, it was one of these images here. I think it was, yeah, here it is right here. So I did the same thing. Actually, for this one, I just imported it directly into Canva and used the background erase, and it erased the background and left just the flowers. I just wanted to show you guys that really quick. Okay, I wanted to quickly show you what I meant by creating the text in Adobe Express. So I have my Adobe Express open, and all I did was import my image from Canva, and I exported it from Canva as a PNG 2 times the size, just to keep the resolution pretty high. I just added text here. This is probably not the title I'm going to go with. This is the same title as the reference coloring book I chose on Amazon. It was named I Love to Color, so I just use this title for now, and then I will edit my text. And I just like Adobe Express because it has a few more features as far as text editing that Canva does not have. Like you can add an outline, a true outline to the text. Canva has an outline option, but it's not the same as an outline in, like, it doesn't have this type of outline in Canva. You have to manually create it by duplicating your text and then making it bigger, and it's just easier to do it here in Adobe Express, in my opinion. You can even use Photopea if you don't want to pay for Adobe Express. I think Adobe Express is $10 a month or something like that. I have Creative Cloud, so I'm not sure if it comes with Creative Cloud for free because I have the Photoshop package. So it may actually come if you have the Photoshop package for $10 a month. It may come with Adobe Express for free, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I'm just going to finish creating my text here in Adobe Express. I also changed the color of my back cover. I just added a square here in Adobe Express. Used the eyedropper to take color from the cover. Yeah, so I think I may go for this back cover instead. And I just wanted to show you guys what I meant by using Adobe Express. You can create your text however you want to. This is just how I'm doing it. Okay, so once you have your book created, you would of course need to upload it to Amazon. So you would go over to kdp.amazon.com, create your account if you don't already have one, and then you would go to this page to start publishing. So we're going to do a paperback. So we'll go to create paperback. From here, you would just fill out your book title, subtitle. Now, the important thing is for your book title, you'll want to include your keywords. And your keywords, like for example, with my book, it would be coloring book for kids 4 to 8. And then I can add in other keywords that my competitor is possibly ranking for. And it's easy to find the keywords because all you need to do is look at your competitor. Like in this case, I have my competitor and I can see their keywords are coloring book for kids. That's very obvious. Coloring book for kids 4 to 8. So I would just make sure to include these same keywords in my book when I upload it to Amazon KDP. And you could also put keywords in your subtitle as well. And then your description, and then also you would put your keywords here.